Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We'll make a start now. We were just waiting for a few of the registered participants to come on online. We've got quite a few people registered for today's session, so just giving them time to come on online. So just to point out before we do get started that today's session is being recorded. So for anybody that has registered that hasn't been able to make it for whatever reason, then they will still get a copy of the webinar in the post-session comms. So welcome everyone to our webinar today on using Compass Plus and Unifrog effectively together. My name is Peter McKinney. I am a Compass Plus trainer for CEC and I lead on our virtual delivery program. I also support with some of our face-to-face delivery as well. Joining me today, we've got a couple of people. We've got Tamid from the customer service team from CEC. Tamid, would you like to just jump on and say hello first?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tamil. I'm a part of the customer service team at CEC. If you guys have any questions regarding today's session, please leave it in the Q&A down below and I'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tamid. And then also we've got Chris as well, who's head of UK partnerships for Unifrog. Chris, do you want to say just a nice hello as well?
Thanks. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Great to be here and looking forward to this webinar. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. So just to sort of go back over what Tamid was mentioning, that if as we're going through the session today, both myself and Chris will be hosting separate parts of the webinar. If there are any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the Q&A and the group chat, and Tamid will work his way through them as we go through the webinar today. So a few learning objectives that we would like you to be able to take away by the end of today's webinar. So we want you to understand how to use both of the products together. Both Unifrog and Compass Plus are very powerful products and in certainly different forms as well. And how they can then work together effectively, we'll hopefully demonstrate that today. We want you to be able to understand how to prepare effectively for exporting the data from Unifrog into Compass Plus. So really showing you and taking you through the steps and the guidance for being able to do that effectively. Then looking at how you can understand the value of uploading the data into Compass Plus. So from downloading those interactions out of Unifrog and uploading them into Compass Plus, what the value is to you as a result of that. So letting you identify where your possible next steps might be, interventions that you might need to make or take, and hopefully seeing the real value in carrying out that particular exercise. And then with all of our webinars, both or even training, sorry, both face-to-face and obviously online, we will direct you to further training and support, both from a Unifrog perspective and also a Compass Plus one. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my camera off so I can see my screen as a whole. Okay, so just to get started with the whole process of the download and then the import. It is, like we can see there, it's a cyclical process. And like I just mentioned, both of the products, Unifrog and Compass Plus, both have huge strengths within their products. But both of these products do work harmoniously together. And it's about how you can utilize all of the strengths in each of the products to really help steer your careers program forward within your particular institution. So if we looked from sort of the left-hand side in Compass Plus, so how looking at that data and information that we've got in there can then help drive the generation of interactions within Unifrog, and then from doing that, downloading them, importing them again into Compass Plus, and starting that process again, seeing where that impact has been. And in order to complete this whole process and really follow it step by step for yourselves, we've got this slide here. So there's 5 steps involved to sort of using both of the products effectively together. Step 1 there, so reviewing your careers provision to identify any gaps. So having a look at that data and information, whether that comes from your future skills questionnaire or your competency evaluations, and identifying where you need to be strategic in terms of your creation of interactions within Unifrog, allows you to then move on to that second step there, which is the log and manage your activities. So from step 1, you have identified where your gaps are, depending related to any of the benchmarks. And then from that, you have started to create ideas around what activities and what events you might need to create. And you start to put those into place within Unifrog. So creating those interactions, attaching those learners that, again, the data and the information from Compass Plus has identified for you. You can then start to be very detailed in your support for your learners and helping to address any gaps that you've identified within that first step. Once you've done that, once you create those interactions within Unifrog and you're happy with them and they've taken place, you would then move on to the step 3, and that is then downloading. And this will be certainly step 2 and 3 will be the part that Chris shows you today. The download of the queries interactions to a CSV file. It is really, really straightforward, and that's not to come across certainly as patronizing at all for anybody that's new to using either one of the products, but it is, and Chris will demonstrate, really straightforward process to download that to a CSV file from Unifrog, and then save that onto a hard drive, a desktop, a USB, whatever it might be, for then you to then carry out step 4. And step 4, and again, very much like sort of step 3, is very simple in terms of the process for importing those interactions into Compass Plus, half termly, or like it says there, more often if desired. So you could be creating activities, downloading, importing them as frequently as you like. But that step 4 about the importance of downloading from Unifrog, importing into Compass Plus, and then, like it says in step 5, having a look again at the impact of that, and that can be through your data visualizations on your dashboard page on Compass Plus, but really seeing how or what the impact has been of these interactions you've created within Unifrog, and then looking at the overall impact towards your achievement to those benchmarks. And then again, that process starts again. Once you've had a look at that and you've seen where your impact's been, you can then go back to step 1 again and then still review where the gaps are, because it may be that although you've addressed some of the gaps within a particular benchmark, we're not quite there. So then again, it allows you to be quite strategic, quite focused with where you then deploy your energy in terms of that creation of more events and activities in Unifrog. So a lovely, really simple 5-step process there in order to get the two products working together to allow you to be really, really focused and strategic and in around addressing those gaps in your provision. Okay, so how we can do the review. So I'll look at step 1 now, and then I'm going to hand over to Chris for step 2 and 3. So hopefully the screen grabs that you can see in front of you at the moment, you're familiar with them from using Compass Plus. If we start on the left-hand side, this is the data and the information that you get back from your Compass evaluation. So completing your Compass evaluations termly within Compass Plus allows you to gain this information on the left-hand side. And it is a breakdown of, in particular here, we can see benchmark 3. So we can see with the circle where we are in terms of progressing towards completing that benchmark. But then when we apply a filter, we can drill down into the specifics of what those sort of sub-criteria are within benchmark 3. And Compass Plus then allows you to see where you're achieving, where you're not, and like it says there, where you're in progress as well. So this can certainly form that factual data that you can then use to then move into Unifrog and start to create those interactions based around your gaps that you've identified from your Compass evaluations. Similarly, we're in terms of looking at data within Compass Plus, on the right-hand side there, we've got the data from your Future Skills questionnaire. So again, these are completed once each academic year for your learners within their year groups at school. And looking at the data and the information now from this allows you to again identify the gaps in your learners' knowledge and understanding around all things to do with careers. And again, it allows you to be very strategic and very efficient with your planning for events and activities that you are then going to obviously create in Unifrog as well. So looking at this data, and certainly now with the new custom reporting function, it can allow you to export that data quite effectively, that you can again then move into Unifrog with some really tangible live data that allows you to address the learner needs and very much steer your careers program in a very efficient and well thought out way. So 2 strands of data here that exist within Compass Plus, your Compass evaluations completed termly on the left-hand side, and then sort of on the right-hand side there, your Future Skills questionnaire data, both allowing you to be very focused on the areas that you want. So you're not then duplicating areas of success that you've already got. And then when you move into Unifrog, you can be very efficient with the creation of those interactions. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing at the moment. So Chris, this hopefully will be the part where you can share. Chris is going to move on now, everybody, to steps 2 and 3 about that log and manage, and then the download section.
Great, thanks so much. Hi everyone, great to see you all. Yeah, as mentioned, I'm going to walk through sort of a bit of how you actually record those interactions and how you download them off of Unifrog in order to upload them into Compass Plus. But just to start with, just in case some of you aren't familiar with what Unifrog does, Unifrog is the Universal Destinations platform. We offer a wide range of different tools to support students in making the most informed decisions when they leave school or college. And we currently work with about 60% of UK schools and colleges. Now, the platform is pretty massive in terms of resource available for students, but also for you guys in terms of keeping track of everything. And obviously today I'm going to be focusing on a very sort of small aspect of that in terms of recording careers interactions. But the most important thing really to remember is that every single student would have their own Unifrog account at your school or college. And in recording an interaction, like I'm about to show you, it would add it to their sort of careers learning journey within Unifrog. So every single student's account is a digital record of everything they've done for careers throughout their time at school. And obviously they have access to that whenever they'd like to reflect on those careers events that they've been to, but also to have their own sort of recording and reflection added into that as well in terms of activities and skills that they're developing through their time at school. So to jump into the process then, what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and hopefully in a second, you should see Unifrog pop up. Hopefully
Perfect.
you guys can see that.
You can see that, Chris.
Perfect. Thank you. So fundamentally, there's two different sides of Unifrog. You have the teacher side and the student side. The teacher side is very much about tracking and engaging in resources and a variety of different things. But obviously, this is the side where you would record your careers interactions. Importantly, teachers, staff at school record careers interactions, not the students, because obviously we need to make sure that we've got the Gatsby benchmarks aligned and all that kind of stuff. Students can record and reflect on their own activities in a slightly different section. And I'll walk you through how to record your careers interactions as a member of staff now. So firstly, there's lots on this page, but if you want to have a look at what Unifrog looks like as a student at any point, just click on Use Platform as a student and you'll see your very own student account. So I'll just quickly show you that because I think this is useful to show how interactions are recorded and reflected on Unifrog for students. So I've signed in as a student here and I scroll down. This top section of what's coming up, this is all of the future interactions that are recorded for me as a student. So a member of staff at this school has recorded this interaction for me and I can see everything that's coming up. What's quite useful about this as well is that you can actually set automatic email reminders to go out to students beforehand so that they're prompted to attend certain events. And then if they scroll down, you can see in this recording section, the interactions tab has a record of every single careers event that the student has ever taken part in at that school. So if you have students saying, oh, I've never done anything for careers, then get them to look here and you can see here we've got a huge number for me as a student. And you can also have an option to give feedback as a student on an interaction as well. And you can see this is the kind of format of that feedback. But before we get too far into that, let's jump back to the teacher side and I'll show you how to actually record these interactions. So first step is to click onto Manage at the top and then select Advanced. Now that's a key part. Depending on what sort of settings you have been using, it'll remember that. So if the last time that you logged in, you were using the advanced view, it will put you right there. But obviously, if you want to access other parts of Unifrog, you can. For today's demo, we'll talk about the advanced view. This is the most powerful view basically on Unifrog for tracking as much as you possibly can. From here, you can track absolutely anything that students do on their Unifrog accounts. And there's a whole host of things that you can do. But to keep it really simple, in order to record an interaction, all you need to do first of all is simply select the students that you want to record an interaction for. So if it was a whole year group, that's nice and easy because you can select year 12, for example, here, and you can see it's quite a small year group. I've got 32 students selected. If I wanted to deselect some students, I can do that. I can check and check all and then just deselect some of the students that didn't attend. Or if I just want to go for the whole year group, I can. I can also import a register into here as well using the match function. So if you click on this, you can copy and paste names from a register into this box, and it will then automatically recognize the students that you've copied into the box and select them for you. So it's quite a smart system and will allow you to select multiple at once. We've also got a relatively new feature to this page, which is the ability to select multiple year groups at once. So if, as an example, you have a careers fair for 2 different year groups and you want to select those, you can click custom on the right-hand side at the top next to the year group banner, and then you can select multiple year groups. So if I wanted to just record something for every single student at the school, I can hit that go button, and that would then give me the 350 students in my example school here. And then I can record an interaction for them. So the first bit is selecting students. You can see there that there's a variety of different ways to do that. And once you've selected those students, you then click add interaction. And these are all different action buttons that you can do with those students. But if I click add interaction, you're then taken to this page. And regardless of the number of students that you've selected, it will look exactly like this. So if this was a one-to-one careers interview, you would obviously just select one student and then you would fill in this information as expected based on the event that you're recording. So first of all, pop in a title. So let's say this is a one-to-one. Obviously, I wouldn't in reality be doing this for 350 students at once, but I can do that. Click the type. What you can see here is that it automatically selects it because that's what I've typed into the box already. If you want to add deadlines, you can here, but we're going to focus today specifically on actual events that have happened or are going to happen in the future. Underneath, you can select a learning area. So in this case, if you wanted to select world of work, university, apprenticeships, you can select multiple extracurricular, and that will allow you to do some cool reporting on this later. You can then add the relevant Gatsby benchmarks. So select those. And as you move down, you can then fill in details. So because this is one-to-one with a careers advisor, what you might want to do here is you can either type into here all the notes from that particular session, so maybe an action plan in there, or if you prefer, which is the more popular thing, you can type in something like please see attached. And then you can attach a file to this interaction. So it could be a Word doc, or it could be a Google Doc, or whatever sort of medium you use to record that action plan, you can attach there. If there's an employer involved in the event, you can add that there as well, which again will enhance the reporting that you're able to do on this afterwards. Notes to teachers, you can fill stuff in that's relevant if you want to share it with the teacher, but not the student. Date and time, obviously you can backdate these as far as you want to. And also, if you have an event in the future, like I showed you just now, if you select 16th of January, for example, you can tick the box underneath to remind them about this the day before. And also you can send them a comment and also ask for feedback on that as well. So a few different options for you. And basically, once you've selected that, click add, and that records it for all the students in one hit that you've selected. So nice and simple. If you are doing it for one-to-ones, what you could do later is book them in the future when the student has booked that in with you, and then add the notes retrospectively if that's something that you'd like to do. So hopefully you can see it's a nice simple process to add an interaction for a student. And I showed you on the student side how that would actually appear for the student as part of their careers learning journey at school. So now I'm going to show you how to actually download that ready for input into Compass Plus. So first of all, again, back to the advanced page. Again, you can select however many students you would like to. And you can select multiple year groups if you'd like to, or if you'd like to import one year group at a time, you can. In this case, I'm just going to download for 350 students at the school in one go. And then on the bottom right-hand side, you can see download. So once we click that, this will give you loads of different options. And depending on what you want to have a look at, you can download files and there's lots of stuff that you can do here in terms of data analysis and downloading PDFs, etc. So if you want to have a look at work experience or anything that's happening here on Unifrog, you can download it. But the section that you want to look at here is for interactions. Lots of different options, and the bit for Compass Plus is just down here. And the most popular one is to do this academic year, and that will then download your activities or interactions that you've recorded into a CSV file. And I'm going to show you one now that I downloaded earlier, which hopefully will make it slightly easier and reduce me flicking between different tabs. So hopefully you can see this file just here. And what you can see is you now have one row for each Gatsby benchmark, and for each event. So it'll give you the dates, the students that have been involved, who's led at the school, and then any notes as well. And a recent update to the Compass Plus upload, which you guys might speak about in a minute, is PAL compliance and parent attendance. You can fill this in on the spreadsheet before you upload it, or if you would like to leave that blank, the upload will still work. So yeah, that's something that you guys can do. We are looking at how we could incorporate this into the interactions process at the moment, and hope to have more news on that for you soon. But this file is fine as it is. You don't necessarily need to do anything with it. This bit is optional if you'd like to add that data in. And when you're ready, simply go on to Compass Plus and then upload it. So hopefully that's nice and clear. I'm just going to check to see if there are any questions in the chat. Let's have a quick look. Cool. Okay, quite a few.
There tends to be, Chris, there tends to be. Do you want me to go through the next step, and then if we leave some time for sort of Q&A at the end for you to then sort of jump back in and kind of address any of those questions?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Thanks.
We'll do that then. Okay, so great. What I will now do then, I will share my screen again. So obviously we've had the step 2 there, the log and the manage. So Chris showed you how to create those interactions, attach learners, and then have them saved onto to Unifrog. Then, like I mentioned earlier, it is quite a straightforward process in terms of downloading those interactions from Unifrog and then importing them into Compass Plus. And that is where I am going to come in now. So we've done step 2 and 3. We create our interactions in Unifrog. Chris has then just showed you how to download that CSV file. So that CSV file will then be saved on your hard drive, a desktop, wherever it might be. And if I then just jump into Compass Plus, so just going to start from the dashboard page. So just to kind of for familiarity, so hopefully everybody that is on the session today is familiar with this page here. So when you do log into Compass Plus, this is what you will be faced with to start with, and this is your dashboard page. And once you've got your CSV file downloaded and saved somewhere from Unifrog, where we go to upload that or import that into Compass Plus is in our activity section here at the side on our navigation bar. If I just click into activities and then your activities, Compass Plus then takes us to this page here, which is all of the activities within your activities plan for this next academic year. And where you go to then upload the CSV file from Unifrog is on this line here. So we've got the little up arrow which just says upload activities. What we do is we click that. It's now a case of either select a file and you go to find it within your hard drive, etc., or you can just then drag and drop that spreadsheet that Chris has generated and then select the file. And then I don't have one to put in here, but on the slide deck it will show you what it looks like. But that then, once that has been selected or dropped into that area there, that then uploads or imports into Compass Plus. Now, for our argument's sake, let's say we've done 8 activities. This is where we were prior to the upload. We're on 82. Once we uploaded those new 8 activities, that's now going to say 90. Okay, so the increase in our activities will be evident for you to see. When the activities are imported into Compass Plus, where you can have a look at them is in this section here. It's in the view activities. Now, all of the activities, when they are imported into Compass Plus, will come through as planned. So at the moment, even if they are completed within Unifrog, they will still be imported into Compass Plus as planned. And then all you would need to do is to go into that activity and create that, amend that to be completed. Now, somewhere where you can find out if you did want to sort of differentiate between activities you created within Compass Plus or activities that you have uploaded into Compass Plus via the activities upload template or Unifrog itself. Now, I don't actually have any files that I've uploaded via Unifrog, but if there was, it would say in here from Unifrog as well. So I can filter onto activities that I have either generated straight from inputting them into Compass Plus, and I could click that button, it would show me. I could highlight any activities that I've done, use the CEC uploads, activities upload template, or if there were Unifrog activities in there as well, that would give me the option to then select that there. So you could then identify which interactions you have downloaded from Unifrog and then you've imported into Compass Plus, and you could do that way. Now, somewhere where you would see the impact of this, excuse me, is on your dashboard. So prior to your import from Unifrog, this is what your dashboard page is telling you, that as per your last Compass evaluation, this is where you were tracking in terms of Gatsby benchmark achievement. So you can see sort of as a visualization there that you've still got areas to progress in. Now, if we've completed the download and the import, where we can then see what our the impact will be is on our planned activities. So we can see that by the import from Unifrog, what impact that is going to have. And then from this, and this is where that sort of cyclical process takes place, is that you can have a look at this data and information, and then again, still be quite strategic with where you spend your time and your effort and your energy on trying to address particular benchmarks. Now, you may well have a school strategic priority that you want to address a particular benchmark, but having this data and information in front of you allows you to see visually where those other additional areas may be that you need to still focus on as well. So we've got the instant sort of visual impact from that download and that import as well. And again, just going back into activities, just to sort of highlight where that sort of where the activities are housed, but then where you would complete or change a planned activity to a completed one, is you could literally click on your source, click on your upload from Unifrog. You'd have all the activities there in front of you. And then let's say, for example, we've got our practical problem solving activity here. You could go along to the end, click on show more, and then you could just click this mark as complete. And then what happens with this is Compass Plus says, great, your attendance records have been updated. Click save, and then it moves from your planned activities into your completed activities. So a manual intervention there where you change your planned into your completed. Yeah, just going to jump back into the demo now. So just to go through some of the remaining slides. So we've done the step 4, and this is just a little bit of a recap on what we've just gone through. So we're going to import the activity. So we'll click into our activities button on that navigation bar. From that, we then click into our upload, and that for everybody that uses the upload template as well, that's the same place where you would import the activities upload template as well. So we're going to click on the activities icon, click on the up arrow, and then we select the file. So this next step will now show you there. So this is the part that I wasn't able to demonstrate, is that Compass Plus will now let you know how many activities have been successfully imported as per that CSV file that we've downloaded from Unifrog. So that's the next step that it would allow you to see once that import has been complete. Now, something just to point out here, and it was something I was going to make reference to on Chris's spreadsheet, where he showed everybody the activities and the learners that were attached. Now, the learners obviously are identifiable via their UPN. And what may happen, not always the case, but it may happen, is that when you are downloading information from Unifrog and then importing it into Compass Plus, there may be some technical reasons as to why that import does not take place. And it could be that if you are importing a spreadsheet with, you know, a few hundred lines on, that you may get quite a lot of errors. And what you can see on this particular slide here is that on that right hand side it shows that there's quite a few errors, but if you look closer, all of those errors are relating to just one UPN. And so what may happen is you may look at an upload error and think, oh my goodness, I'm not going to waste my time or spend time on that. But it may be that all you actually need to do is just edit or amend one UPN, and then that could fix or solve that potential error. But just to let you know that as you are importing into Compass Plus, if there are any errors, those errors need to be fixed before that import and upload will be successful and will be complete. But this is just to sort of point out, or to show you that there may be on occasion errors. And again, certainly if you're importing quite a lot of lines, that there may be errors attached to them as well. But it could be that there could be just one particular thing that's causing that error. Once that's fixed, that import and upload will be complete. Okay, so then we've got step 4 here. So we've got the building your activities. So like I showed you before, you can see actually now, so we've got the source where I didn't have it within my demo account. You can see there that the source could be from multiple platforms, or from multiple formats in which you are importing activities into your plan, and it can allow you to then to just filter onto particular ones that you need to do. As the activities are imported into your plan, they will also, like it says there, they will also appear within your learner profiles as well. So that happens automatically. So you can then see, clicking into the learner profiles, all of the different events and activities that have taken place for particular learners as well. So this is a new update. So again, this is still around the import. Now, at the top there, we can see in the red, it says any activities uploaded to Compass Plus will be uploaded as planned. So learner attendance data can be managed more efficiently. So like I mentioned, it's your activities or interactions, when you've downloaded them and imported them, they'll be put into Compass Plus, or uploaded into Compass Plus as planned. And then we need to manually go in to change that to completed. There is going to be a new feature coming out in January, which is a bulk update. And if I just go back one slide, if let's say, for example, you've got all of your activities that you've imported from Unifrog, and you rather than having to go in manually and change them all to completed, there's going to be a bulk update feature that allows you to bulk update more than one activity. Now, at the moment, this is in sort of the pilot testing phase, and this is just a call out to everybody that's on the session today, that if you would be happy to take part in this pilot to sort of test this new feature, because it will be going live in the new year, if you could reach out to sort of put your name forward, because again, when things are new, and we get this with a lot of products, a lot of it is within the testing and in the actual functionality and the using of it, that we find out where the teething problems are. And so it'd be really helpful for anybody that will be happy to sort of take part in this, so that we can iron out any errors that may be occurring, so that quite quickly we can get those fixed. But there is going to be the feature whereby now you can then, once those activities are being imported, that you can bulk complete those as well, saving you hopefully a lot of time in the process. So the impact side of things, which I just demonstrated as well. So you've imported those activities into your Compass Plus, and you are then wanting to look at what the impact has been, so we can see where, from those new interactions created in Unifrog, what impact they have had on our benchmark achievement. Again, allowing you to be quite strategic, quite focused on the particular areas that are then left behind, and the gaps that you can still then see. And that cyclical process happens again, where you then go back into Unifrog, addressing the needs of what you've got in front of you, and then being able to fill those gaps that you've identified. So with the impact, I'm not going to read all of these out because there's quite a few on there. But just to point out, the second one, view your progress towards your Gatsby benchmark on your visualization, that will definitely highlight your impact. There's a new activities reporting function within Compass Plus. We have a webinar for that as well, for people to go along and view. But the activities reporting function will also now allow you to identify the sort of the who's missing out. And in terms of that, allowing you again to see where you need to address any gaps in provision, and then start to create those tailored interactions in Unifrog. And then, that whole process starts again as well. So there's a few different ways that we can measure the impact of that process of using Unifrog and Compass Plus together. Again, the impact may be visual and see you can see that from your FSQ results and the data that you get back from that. Are there any gaps in our provision, any gaps in our learners' knowledge and understanding of careers? And that data and information can support with that as well. Okay. So just really as a recap now to go through that sort of 5-step process. So we've got step 1, review your progress every half term in Compass Plus. So looking at that data that you've got within Compass Plus and identifying where your gaps are based on things like your Compass evaluations data, your future skills questionnaire data, and then moving on into to Unifrog, armed with that factual information to then start to log and manage your activities and your interactions within Unifrog as well. Once you've done that, once you're happy that you've addressed those gaps that you've identified in step 1, you're then going to move to step 3, and that download again that Chris demonstrated earlier. Very simply looking for that CSV file within the download section and then saving that to a desktop or a hard drive, importing it. So like I showed you in the activities section within Compass Plus, clicking that up arrow, importing or dragging and dropping that file saved from step 3 into Compass Plus, allowing that to then update your activities plan for that academic year. And then again, going into step 5 and looking at that dashboard visualization to see what impact those new interactions that you've just uploaded, imported into Compass Plus, what they have had. Okay, so Chris, I don't know if do you want to jump on and just talk around the support section that's offered from Unifrog for that top part?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So every single Unifrog partner has access to a account manager who will be on hand to support with sort of strategic implementation of this. But also, if you want some sort of quick answers to questions, we have our fantastic partner success team who are on hand. Email them via info@unifrog.org or the phone number that's on the screen just there, and they'll be able to get back to you with specific questions.
Fab. Yeah, okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Chris, for that. Moving on to the bottom 3 there. So the support and training that's there from a Compass Plus or CEC perspective. So step 1 there, we've got our help center. So on the navigation bar within Compass Plus itself, you've got the help center there, which takes you to all of the different articles, the different resources in terms of webinars and actually online resources as well that you've got at your disposal. So if you are having any issues or any problems with downloading things for interactions from Unifrog, there is articles within the help center within Compass Plus that can help you with that. The second part there, so reaching out to your ECs, your enterprise coordinators. Again, if you're at the stage where you're using Unifrog and Compass Plus together and you're having problems with that, to reach out to your ECs as well, because they have hopefully a wide range of network that, again, they can put you in touch with if there are other schools within the area, within your area, that are using Compass Plus and Unifrog effectively together, and you may be struggling, they can then put you in touch with those and get that peer-to-peer support taking place as well. And then the bottom one there, we've got the Compass Plus help desk as well. So by emailing the Compass Plus careers and enterprise.co.uk email, that you will be reaching out to people like Tamid and the team, and they would then support with any queries or concerns that you've got moving forwards. So just coming on to the last couple of slides before we go to sort of the Q&A, and we've left hopefully enough time to go through any things that, Chris, I think I've seen you tapping away, you may have been addressing, but if there are any outstanding, we'll look at them. But before we move on to that, we've got the training that's available to support you as careers leads within your role. So this particular one here is the fully funded careers leader training. And this is accessed via the QR code here on the left-hand side, and it is delivered in support with all of the training providers here at the bottom. And this careers leader training is essentially training to help you be the best careers lead that you can possibly be within your role. So the landscape and the requirements and the expectations of careers leaders is changing on an ever-increasing basis. And this training is offered there to help support you navigate that the best way you possibly can. So you would access the QR code, sign up for the training that suits you best, and then take part in that. And hopefully that will really, again, just reassure you that you're doing a great job, but then also to support you in any areas that you feel you may need. Secondly, we've got our wider training offer here, and this is accessed via our digital hub, again, via the QR code here in the bottom left corner. And again, this is all online training that can be carried out and undertaken at your leisure. And there are lots of different elements that are there to help you within your role and meet the requirements and expectations of the job itself. So again, those are all accessible through the QR code on that bottom left corner. So we've got the what's coming soon. So hopefully everybody that's on the call today, on the session today, has heard of the Careers Impact System. And one of the elements and one of the arms of that is the internal leadership review. So this is obviously the self-reflection internal piece that looks at what great careers leadership and great careers provision is within your institutions. And if you are at the stage where you're looking to start to undertake the internal leadership review, we've got the help section there, or the help article there, that can take you through the stages and all the preparation that you need to do, the people that need to be involved, and they can help with that as well within that particular section. And then the bottom one there is the updates and the development. So I mean, we've mentioned that we're going to have the bulk completion of activities update soon, but we've also within product had the learner reporting function, the custom reporting function from Future Skills, the activities reporting. So there's lots of developments happening within product, and there are more still to come in the not too distant future. So this help center article here is something that we are advising you really stay up to date with. Have that saved in your favorites, so you can continually access it to see when the updates are taking place, and to make sure that you are aware of all of those as well. Okay, so for those that are still on the session today, just before we jump to sort of Tamid and then the Q&A, if there's anything outstanding, could we get you to access the QR code there and leave any feedback from today's session? So the feedback is really, really important to us from a couple of perspectives. One, from a developmental point of view, that when you come on these sessions, we know that your time as careers leaders are very, very precious, or is very precious, sorry, and that we want to make sure that these are as purposeful and impactful as possible, and you get the most from them for the time that you're on. So if there are any things that we maybe didn't cover today that you might have liked, please leave that feedback. Secondly, if the session has, it's ticked the box, it's achieved what we wanted to, and you feel in a stronger place having had the session today, to leave that feedback as well. Again, it's always nice to know when we are doing things effectively, so that we can then continue to sort of duplicate and replicate that further down the line. So your feedback is absolutely vitally important to us, and we really do appreciate every bit that you leave. So just bringing things to a close, Tamid, are there any outstanding questions? I certainly know Chris was tapping away there before. Is there anything that still needs to be addressed at all?
Hey Pete, nothing related to Compass Plus itself, but a lot of Unifrog questions. So
Yeah,
that
is always that, Chris. Unfortunately, that is always the case with this one. There tends to be quite a lot. From your perspective, Chris, are you happy that you addressed everything? Do you want to jump into? Do you need to jump into your account at all to go back over things?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I've just taken. There's quite a few under sort of similar.
No problem.
So I thought
I'll
probably it's just
stop
a
share,
chat.
and I will allow you to. I'll turn my camera off then.
Thanks
I'll
so
allow
much.
you to share and answer whatever questions that were in there. There always tends to be. It always is quite a Unifrog heavy session, this one, in terms of questions.
Of course. Okay, cool. So there are a few questions around actual versus planned events. And yes, you can upload future events into Unifrog. That's absolutely fine. And just to recap on how you do that, I'll just share my screen again. So hopefully this should come up. So this is the advanced view. So as a recap, sign into your account, click on manage, click on advanced, and then you'll see all your students. Select the students that you need, and then click add interaction. Fill in the information here, and then all you need to do is select a future date and a time if you'd like to. That's a nice early event for the students. And then you can tick to automatically remind them, and also ask them for feedback. For future ones, I would suggest doing this, because later they can say whether they attended or not, and it will help you to whittle down that list to track sort of the actual attendance for those events. So that was one key theme that was coming up. Someone asked about matching on the custom view. So the custom view, as I mentioned, is how you select multiple year groups at once. So you can see here that I've selected the whole school. And then if you want to use the matching function for the whole school, you can do, you just click match, and then you can copy a register into that box, and it will select students across multiple year groups for you. So hopefully nice and straightforward there. Cool. Kerry asked about UPN numbers. Yes, so UPN numbers are required to upload into Compass Plus. This is probably the bit that maybe causes the most errors that we've seen. So I would strongly recommend having a look to see if your UPN numbers are there first. The way to do this is if you're set up as an editor on Unifrog, and if you're doing this process, you probably should be. If not, speak to us and we'll set that up for you. But you'll just need to go to manage and then click on grid editor is the easiest place to see this. Grid editor, select the year group that you want to look at and then click student ID. And you can see in this case, I've got some inputted and some not. If you need to input loads of them, we have a bulk upload process. So just get in touch with us and we'll be able to support you with that. Or if it's just a couple that are missing, pop that into the box there. And that will work for you. As you saw some of the examples on the slides, if there is one UPN number that's incorrect, it might flag multiple different errors, if depending on how many Gatsby benchmarks are assigned to each event, and all that kind of stuff. So it might just be one error that's causing lots. So definitely have a look at that. It will tell you which sort of specific UPN is blocking it, and then check it on the system to make sure it matches between Unifrog and Compass Plus.
Chris, there's a question just come in there saying, I didn't catch what match does in Unifrog. Could you run over that again? Thanks.
Sure, of course. Yeah, okay, so back to the advanced view. So match is a really nice way of selecting students. So rather than essentially going through and selecting a whole year group or clicking one by one, what you can do is, I'll just show you, I can't do it from here. So basically what you can do is instead of clicking them one by one, you can click match and then you can copy and paste student names, emails or ID numbers into that box and it will then automatically select them for you. So if I copied John T. Rocky and Arash KH into this box, then it would select those students for me. So you can import registers and you can do that from a year group view or from a whole school view if you have a full register of students across lots of different year groups. Michelle, you've asked about learning area for group sessions. So this is in reference to the interaction logging process and this learning area section. Great question. That does sound like one that isn't super obvious in terms of where it fits in. I guess it depends a little bit on the focus of the delivery, but you can select multiple if applicable here. So you might actually just decide that it's best to select all of them if that's appropriate to you. But really the most important bit here is just getting the interaction recorded with the Gatsby benchmarks assigned to it, because this will offer you some reporting stuff within Unifrog, but that won't be transferred into Compass Plus. It's mostly the Gatsby benchmark bit that is. So yeah, select really what you'd like to there and what's most appropriate. Unticking students. So yeah, Lisa asked about unticking students. So yes, it's a good question because it's something that can be easily missed. So first of all, before you do that, you just select there. So I've deselected all the students and then you click check, uncheck, and then that'll give you the opportunity to untick students. So it's this check, uncheck button at the top that only appears when you click uncheck here. So just to be aware of, uncheck all, and then you can click through and untick students. Cool. Liam asked about errors and UPNs. Yeah, so I think that's the most important thing. Check your UPN numbers are pulling across. If they're not, give us a shout and we'll be able to help you. And also Compass Plus CC team will also be able to help there. So we're on hand if you need some support with any errors that are coming up. Kelly and David asked where to download again, so I'll just quickly show you that. So once you've done your interactive recording process and you're ready to upload it into Compass Plus, all you need to do is select the students. So in this case, let's just select those and then click download on the bottom right-hand side. Just to recap, bottom right-hand side here, download button, scroll down slightly to the interactions logging section and you'll see these CSV summaries for Compass Plus. Click on the one this academic year, and that will give you the data that you need. And then, yes, a couple of questions about duplication. So I don't know if that's best for you guys to answer on your side in terms of how duplications work.
Yeah, the John. So with the download and then the import, Compass Plus recognizes activities that are already in there. So if we're downloading a whole host of activities or interactions, that there won't be a duplication. It recognizes those that are already in there. So we'll only import the new ones.
Great. Perfect.
Everything
Thank
from
you.
yourself, Chris?
I don't think so. I think that's everything, other than obviously the signposting resources. We have a checklist as well, which is super helpful for looking through everything that you need. Obviously, this recording will be shared as well, and we're both on hand if you need anything. So just give us a shout.
Perfect. I was just going to say that for everybody that has either been in attendance today or has registered for today's webinar, that you will get a copy of the webinar in the post-session comms. So please look out for that. And it just leaves me to thank Chris. Thank you so much for coming along. It's been super useful. I know they are always quite Unifrog heavy in terms of the questions of these webinars, but it allows, I suppose, that those attendees to ask the questions that, the burning questions. And Tamara, thank you very much for your support as well. I know that the group chat has probably been quite busy. It tends to be within this session. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I really hope it has been useful for you, and hope to see you again in the new year for more of our webinars. Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.